"250 years ago, on July the 4th, 1776, the 13 American colonies officially declared their separation from Great Britain. Today, on the 4th of July, Americans celebrate Independence Day. And while the fireworks fly into the sky back home, it's here at a cool and sunny Ellis Park in Johannesburg that the USA Eagles women are hoping to soar. Welcome to our live audio commentary. It's Box Squad Radio on YouTube. I'm Alex White. So I'm here to guide you through today at Ellis Park, and it is a fantastic day. There's not a cloud in the sky. It is going to be quite a chilly day, but it is so exciting to be here to see these two teams return to action. Of course, they're both looking on from after the World Cup last year. That was in England, the 2025 Women's Rugby World Cup. South Africa actually getting a little bit further than the USA Eagles, making it to the quarterfinals. But the Eagles have made 3 finals at the World Cup. They've even won one back in 1991. It is an incredible atmosphere here in Ellis Park. Of course, the Springbok men taking on England in their Nations Championship opener later on today. So there is a lot of rugby to look forward to. Let's quickly take you through the squads then for today, the two teams that are going to be out on the field. And we'll start with the visitors, the USA Eagles. Up front, taking a look at their front row, it's Rogers, Trida and Woods. Then the lock pairing, Erica and Taufu. Our flankers, Kate Zachary and captain Georgie Perez-Redding. Now, Kate Zachary actually led the squad last year in that World Cup campaign in England. It's her 50th cap today, so that's going to be worth celebrating. The number 8, it's Tafauna. Then the 9 and 10 pairing, Cassidy Bargel at 9, Annabelle Vogel at 10. Ashley Cowdrey's the left wing. It's Howard and Uhatafe as the centre pairing. Matawi Toga is the right wing. Coulter in at 15. Then the replacements, Stathopoulos, Leatherman, Cook, Bailey, Han, Humphreys, Oritz, and Vittler. The coach is Jack Hanratty. He's from Scotland, but he's taking charge of the USA Eagles women today. Let's take a look at the Springbok women then. And our leader is up front in that front row. Most of the players hailing from the Bulls. Up front, we've got Charlie, Gunter, and Lacha making up the front row. Babalwa Lacha is our captain today. It's her 41st cap. She has led the Springboks 15 times before, but largely that role has previously fallen to Cindy Boy. And now that she's announced her retirement, it seems that Babalwa Lacha has stepped into that role, with Coach Swace de Brain confirming that she's going to take the reins on a more permanent basis going forward. Then your locks, Tsubisi and Lochner, flanks, Solonsi and Jacobs. Wellman at 8. Unamtose is going to be at 9. That fantastic quick Bulls player hailing from Geelong in the Eastern Cape. Libby Janse van Rensburg, absolute X-Factor player at 10. Aris is the left wing. Ngwevu at inside centre. Malinga at outside centre, also fantastic sevens player, as many of these 15s players actually are in the women's setup. Right wing, Yaki Saliers, and 15, it's her birthday. Bahandre Dolph going to be orchestrating things from the back at fullback. So happy birthday to Bahandre Dolph. Now let's quickly take you through your replacements, the front row replacements. Groenewald, Ngolo, Mwazwi are your front row replacements, and then the rest of the replacements, Kolo, Notleke, Chawuka, Jacobs, and Webb. And that is the Springbok women team that is going to be taking on the USA Eagles today here at Ellis Park. And I have to say, having got here very early this morning, quite a few people have been in the ground for a couple hours already. And when you think that the Springboks in England are only kicking off at 5:40 this afternoon, it's very cool that fans have come to the stadium early on to support the Springbok women. right now walking out onto the field. It's Kate Zachary. I mentioned it's her 50th cap. She led the USA Eagles in England last year for that 2025 World Cup campaign, and she gets a round of applause before the rest of the team, led by Georgie Perez-Redding, the captain of the USA Eagles, take to the field. It's obviously a special day in the United States of America. It's Independence Day. It's the 4th of July. And like I said, they're going to be fireworks across the country later on today as they celebrate their Independence Day, while the USA Eagles are going to hope to soar here at Ellis Park. It's now the moment that everyone's been waiting for here in Ellis Park. The Springbok Women are making their way out onto the pitch. We've got the anthems in just a couple of moments. And the people who have got here early today are standing up on their feet to get a good view as the smoke fires out, and Babal Welache leads South Africa onto the pitch in her 41st cap. The first Springbok woman to have a professional contract back with the Harlequins. She's subsequently come home to South Africa, now plies her trade in Western Province. And it's high fives all round for the Springbok women team as they line up and we prepare for the national anthems. And first, it will be the anthem of the United States. The Star-Spangled Banner. How special on the 4th of July to hear this historical anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So special to hear it on what is America's Independence Day, today, the 4th of July. Now from Nkosi Sikelel', Africa.
Nkosi Sikelel', Africa, malupaganiso punalayo, isma imithandazo yethu. Nkosi Sikelel', thina lusapho lwayo, murena poloka setshaba sa Yesu, ufedise tintwele machwenye, o seboloke, setshaba sa Yesu. Blauw van onze hemel, uit die diepte van ons ziel. Oor ons ewige gebergtes, waar die grootste antwoord gee. Sounds a call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
It's always the most incredible anthem to hear live, with everybody in the stadium joining in one voice. 5 of the 12 national languages of South Africa. Now, as the players get ready to take their positions on the field, it gives me an opportunity to tell you a little bit about the officiating team that are out in the middle today. The referee is South Africa's Zoe Nordier. She'll be assisted by Angie Bezuidenhout and Gianna Viljoen, while Quinton Immelman is the TMO. It's an all South African officiating team for today. Zoe Nordier, the referee in the middle, hails from the Western Cape, a Rustenburg Girls High School old girl. She had her Six Nations debut earlier this year in Scotland at Murrayfield, with South Africa's Amy Barrett-Taron running touch for her. So it was a very special occasion. I'm sure we're going to see her at the World Cup in the very near future. Now, I did mention at the start that I'm Alex White, bringing you this commentary today. And if you know anything about me, you know that I love talking about laws. I love refereeing. I am a referee, in addition to being a broadcaster. So hopefully today I'll be able to give you a little bit more insight into those decisions and laws and things as they unfold in today's match. We are waiting for the opening whistle now. I have on my notes here that the USA women won the toss, and they're kicking off right to left. As you look to the field from the grandstand, they seem to think they were on the left-hand side. So we've just quickly reshuffled that. They are taking up their positions to kick off, and referee Nordier is just looking for a ball, which is, I would say you can't start a match without a referee, and that's me being biased, but you definitely do need a ball. So we are waiting for one. And the Rhino has found its way onto the pitch. It's going to be passed downfield, and it has made its way to the middle. Right, we are all set to go here at Ellis Park. Annabelle Vogel will kick off for the USA Eagles in their first of 2 encounters. And I beg your pardon, it's actually Coulter who's kicking off, the fullback. And she kicks deep, almost to the 22. Immediately, there's a knock-on from the Springbok women. So the USA Eagles have the ball now. They've gathered it. They're on the Springbok women's 10-meter line, and they're looking to play phases as they bring the ball downfield towards their left wing. Ashley Cowdrey, who takes a couple tacklers with her before she's brought to ground. Vogel looks to play quickly. And now the ball is with the forwards as they play crash ball, but it's been ripped by the Springbok women. It's been ripped forwards. So referee Zoe Nordier calls a scrum. A couple frenetic first 50 seconds. And this scrum is inside the Springbok women's half. It's about 2 meters beyond the 10-meter line, and about 25 meters in from the touchline closest to us here on the grandstand. This will be the first chance for us to see how the 2 front rows are going to line up. For South Africa, it's Charlie, Gunter, and Lutcher. For the USA, Rogers, Trida, and Woods.
Bind. Set. Both down.
It collapsed immediately, so referee Zoe Nordier is going to call a reset.
Let's reset, please. Both of you, long bind. Keep your body weight up.
She's having a chat to Senelisiwe Charlie and Reese Woods, and changed sides. I think they were the problem, both going down.
Bind. Set.
This time it stays up, And Cassidy Bargel is able to feed.
Ball's out.
The scrum's a little bit of a mess, but the ball does come out. And now the USA women are looking to run the phases. Cassidy Bargel with quick ball, keeping her forwards in play. It's Rogers, the big number 1, with a strong carry, but she's brought down. And the Springbok women's defense is holding strong at the moment as the ball finds its way to Matai Toga. And she's brought down just outside the Springbok women's 22. Once again, Bargel looking to play quickly as she utilizes her forwards and her backs. I'll have Coulter playing slightly out of position. She puts a kick in deep and it goes over the dead ball line.
Ball's gone dead. But you say.
I think referee Nordia is...
Do you want a scrum?
There we go.
You want a scrum? Okay.
Referee Nordia initially was calling for the goal line dropout. So just to explain what happened, Alev Kelter, the 15, the fullback, she kicked the ball dead. So the Springbok women have the option of a 22-meter dropout, not a goal line dropout, or the scrum being taken where the ball was kicked. They've opted for the scrum. It's just outside their own 22, again about 25 meters infield from the grandstand's touchline. So luckily that all got sorted.
Get that shoulder out. Thanks. Thanks. Crouch. Bind. Okay. Both front rows. We have too much movement. I can't move to the next call. Please, I need stability from both teams. Same mark.
Well, you heard it there from referee Nordia. That scrum definitely wasn't stable. I think the loose end of the Springbok women on the far side, Sanelisiwe Charlie, was in fact pulling out a little bit. She didn't have a good bind there. She wasn't well set. So we're going to have another go. As Namtose will be feeding for South Africa.
Bind. Set.
This time, it's a free kick for South Africa. Too much movement from the USA Eagles, and Amtose takes it quickly. And it's a strong carry up the middle for the Springbok women, but Tose is there again to play the ball quickly. Danielle Lochner with the carry now. She beats a couple defenders before she's brought down.
You get back 8.
And it's a bit of a slower ball for Tose this time. The forwards keep it, though. Asolonsi is taken to ground. And now, Libby Janssen van Rensburg. She was looking for options, but the USA Eagles defense swallowed her up whole. Sanelisiwe Charlie playing the ball, and now there's space as Obisi has the ball. She's looking for options. And she finds Bandre Dolph. And the Springbok women will score first. And it's come pretty much from nowhere. As they were spreading the ball wide, a gap suddenly opened up. And it was Vaina Obisi, the lock from the Bulls, who made the break for the Springbok women down on the far side, about on the 15-meter. And she had a break on the halfway line. She didn't look like she was sure where she was going because a whole lot of USA Eagles defenders were closing in on her, but I think actually too many because it opened up a gap on the far side.
Thank you so much.
And all she had to do was offload. The Springbok women score first.
The clock's wrong. Okay, 20.
Libby Janssen van Rensburg lining up for the kick at goal. It's on the 15-meter line, just about on the 22. It's a strong strike. She's got the distance. It deflects in off the post, and it's 7-0 to the Springbok women.
Yeah, but it was like 31 when she just kicked. And it's in 20. Okay. Yeah, because the 60-second really started when she set up the kick. Okay, thank you.
Referee Zoe Nordia just having a chat with her TMO Quinton Immelman, just making sure they have the right info about the shot clock, as the match shot clock here in the stadium wasn't in sync with what they were hearing. It's another kickoff from the fullback Coulter. She sends it much deeper into the 22 this time, but the Springbok women managed to bring it out onto the 22-meter line. Libby Janssen van Rensburg with a strong carry now, but she chooses to pass the ball. Beandre Dolph kicks it deep, but it's cleaned up neatly by her counterpart Kelter on the halfway line, who now breaks down the field. She makes 20 meters before she's brought down into touch. And the Springbok women will have a line out just outside their own 22. I think it's worth mentioning at this point, I didn't get time to at the start as we launched into the anthems, but the last time the Springbok women and the USA Eagles women met was in 2024. That encounter was won by the USA Eagles 38-17. Now, some innovation from the Springbok women. They literally set up a two-person line-out, but the ball goes over the back and finds its way into the hands of Ubisi beyond the 15. She has a strong carry before she's brought down. And now the Springbok women looking to use some of the forwards and spread the ball wide. Torse with a slightly slower ball now. She finds Libby Janse van Rensburg, and they extend downfield to the left wing. Aries, who's got some open field in front of her and has broken all the way into the USA Eagles half and is brought down on the 22. Libby Janse van Rensburg is there to pick up the ball quickly, and she's brought down just 6 meters in front of the USA Eagles line. But the shrill blast of Zoe Nordia's whistle tells you that the excitement is all over. She was a little bit isolated, and it's a strong steal. So all that momentum and all that pressure from the Springboks is looking fantastic, though. That's the second break they've had down that far touchline. And when I say far touchline, I say from where I'm positioned on the grandstand, it is that far touchline. They just spread the ball wide. It found its way to Alicia Aries. It's only her 6th cap for the Springboks, and already she's putting a good dent in this game. Now, the USA Eagles opted to kick for touch with that penalty, but it was pretty much under the posts, the penalty. So they've only just got outside their own 22 on the far side. As Trida looks to throw into a 5-person line out, it finds its way to the middle. But then some strong defense from the Springbok women and some strong pressure means that it's brought down inside the 15. Referee Zoe Nadir actually calls that it's a maul. So this is a turnover for the Springbok women. Brilliant maul defense. And in fact, the USA Eagles weren't looking to set up a maul. They were actually just trying to get the ball out of there, but a couple Springbok women defenders got round that ball and just made sure it was held up. The maul was formed, and there was an unsuccessful turnover. So now the Springbok women have a scrum. It's on the 15-meter line. When I say the 15 meters in from touch, about 5 meters before the USA Eagles 22. It's 7-0, 10 minutes gone. The Springbok women lead at Ellis Park.
Set.
It's a much stronger scrum this time.
Stay outside.
And Zoe Nordia lets the ball come out. And the Springbok women are playing innovatively. That's the influence of Swayster Brain. They've set up a maul off the scrum. The ball was barely passed out of the scrum before they set up a maul, and the USA women are struggling to defend it as it bears down into the 22, and it's still going. Referee Nordia has called 2 stops, so the ball has to be used by South Africa. She's being very generous, but the ball has found its way out, and it comes to Malinga, who gets driven back almost out of the USA 22. Beandre Dolph playing at scrum half. She darts quickly, makes it back into the 22. They're in line with the posts, the Springboks, 5 meters inside the Eagles 22. They're doing nice carries now from the front row. Babawalacha, the captain, getting involved as well. The Springbok women are setting up their backline on the right-hand side of the field as they look towards the posts. This ball a lot slower for Namtose. But the carries continue, and the USA Eagles are desperately defending. And there's a big carry from Charlie, the massive number 1, that brings them onto the 5-meter line. They're now only a couple meters away. There's virtually no defense on the left-hand side. The Springboks are flooding the right-hand side of the field. And the pick and goes are coming thick and fast as they try desperately to get over and extend that lead. Now they opt to go left. And Jacobs is getting stuck in there as well with the carry, but it's Libby Janse van Rensburg who comes out with the ball. And she's brought just down before the line. She has to release.
Backwards.
And there's a little knock, but it's gone backwards, says referee Nordia. And the try is scored. There was a little bit of chaos. There might be some work for the TMO, Quinton Immelman, to do in the background there, as he takes a look and sees if everything was okay. Initially, the Springboks were picking and going wonderfully. They got all the way from the 22-meter line to the 5-meter line. That was that strong carry from Charlie that got them there. But then a couple pick and goes near the line, especially from the massive number 12, Katana Howard. And it looks like the fumble did go backwards, so this try is probably going to be good.
We'll reset for you. Just checking something.
Okay, in the background, they are checking something.
Can you see?
That's the voice of Quinton Immelman, the TMO.
Yes, please.
We'll have a listen in.
Okay, play on.
Okay, we'll reset the clock for you. Try's all good.
Well, there you heard it from referee Zoe Nordia. The initial knock as Ngwevu went to score the try, the ball went backwards. So there was no issue there. This time, Libby Janssen van Rensburg's attempt goes just wide off the right-hand side of the posts. And I do beg your pardon, not Libby Janssen van Rensburg. It was actually Yaki Saliers who is doing the kicking. She's the right wing for the Springbok Women. So the score now, 12-0, 13 and a half minutes gone. The USA Eagles looking under all sorts of pressure as there's these explosive bits of trick play from the Springboks. Waste of Brains influence has been felt here. The kickoff has found its way into the Springboks 22, but a strong carry sees them just outside as Libby Janssen van Rensburg looks to orchestrate and make use of Ngwevu, the big number 12. And it's a pick and go down the middle that gets brought down as the Springbok women look to flood the ruck. Janssen van Rensburg playing at 9. And a little skip pass sees all sorts of trouble for the USA Eagles. Andre Dolph ends up with the ball after it gets fumbled. They're inside the USA Eagles half, just outside the 22. And the backline flood the ruck as the number 8, Wellman, carries the ball just inside the 22 now as Janssen van Rensburg plays 9 again. She's having to play in that 9 position because Anamtose is down way back in the South African field. And now as the Springbok women look to spread it wide again, it just gets knocked on. It doesn't quite make it into the hands. So there will be a scrum for the USA Eagles on their 15-meter line from touch. And it's between their 10 and 22-meter lines. There's a real sense of attacking potency from the Springbok women at the moment, though. They are finding their way into the USA Eagles half when they spread the ball down into those tram lines. A lot of credit to our 2 wings, Yaki Saliers and Alicia Aris, who are doing a fantastic job. We are just paused as there is that injury still in the deep on South Africa's side of the field.
Okay, so both of you are feeling the same. Let's maintain the standard and keep it up. Okay.
Doesn't look like it's a serious injury. She's just having her leg stretched out, and no talk of a replacement having to come in at this point. She's back up on her feet, and Amtose. They always say they don't understand. I've heard from from Cindy Boy. She's mentioned before that she doesn't understand how the players from the Eastern Cape recover so quickly. And Amtose up very rapidly there from Chalom in the Eastern Cape, and she takes up her position next to the scrum.
That's time on.
It is a scrum for the Eagles. They're going to look to get out of their own half. They've been playing mostly here so far. They're under a lot of pressure from the Springbok attack and the innovations that we've already seen. Again, it's a strong scrum, but the Springbok women have the ascendancy. They push strong, but the ball just manages to come out. And the USA Eagles are under all sorts of pressure from that scrum as they got blown backwards. They've only just got back outside of their 22. It pushed them all the way back into the 22, and they've only just got outside now.
Thank you.
And a bit of scrambling with some Forwards flooding the ruck there. And they're struggling to get past the 22-meter line as their forwards are carrying, and they're having to flood the ruck to prevent the Springboks from putting in a steal.
Downside.
But this time, it looks like Cassidy Bargel is going to put a box kick up into the Ellis Park sky. It's chased well by the USA Eagles, who managed to pick it up. And they're now on their own 10-meter line, looking to play quickly. Bargel. But as referee Nordia says there, as Bargel was looking to play quickly, she actually knocked the ball on.
Okay, I'll have a look here.
So we're now going to have a Springbok scrum on the 10-meter line, and they won't be upset about that at all. If anything, if that last scrum was anything to judge by, they are mere moments away from winning a scrum penalty. The USA Eagles were just lucky they managed to get that ball out at the last scrum to prevent the inevitable. And it looked like that drive was being led by the captain herself, Babawa Lacha, on her 41st cap as captain today.
Set!
And it's a strong scrum from the Springboks. They're going clearly forward. The penalty must come, and it does come. It's advantage to the Springboks as Libby Janse van Rensburg gets the ball and plays it upfield. And Amtose is there to play quickly. Dolph has the ball now. She kicks it. Malinga chases, but it finds its way to the right wing. Saliers, who has a clear break, and she's just brought down 10 meters in front of the line as the Springboks play quickly, and it's in the hands of Ubisi, who has a strong carry. And Amtose is not giving the Eagles any chance to play the ball, though. She's getting it out very rapidly.
Not on the ball.
And just as I say that, it's a slightly slower one, an attempted steal. Aris brought down 10 meters in front of the try line. And now the Springboks look to build pressure like they did just minutes ago with the pick and goes. It's a second advantage for the Springboks. They've got 2 free plays here, as Malinga now has the ball near the right-hand touchline. She steps one and gets brought down. Well, I beg your pardon, she doesn't get brought down. She charges a little bit forward before she eventually gets brought down. As Saliers plays as 9, and the ball is brought back to Saliers. A nice inside ball. 6 meters away now, the Springboks, as Malinga carries. The strong outside centre finds her way onto the 5-meter line. And it almost seems inevitable for the Springboks. Another carry from Ubisi. And they're on the line now, the Springbok women, looking to extend this lead. And another strong carry, and finally, they're over. The third try of the match goes the way of the Springbok women. And the USA Eagles have simply got no answer. It's the captain, Babawa Lacha, scoring in her 41st cap. It's only her 8th international try. And honestly, once they were on the line, there was no stopping them. The carry was just strong, powerful, and she blew her way over. What it does mean is that the kick for Yaki Saliers is on the 15-meter line, just inside the 22. She's kicked 1 from 2 so far. Again, it's a strong strike on the ball. She has no issue with the distance, but it just goes left of the left-hand upright, which means that at the 20-minute mark, it's 17-0 to the Springbok women. And I have to emphasize that the USA Eagles women are ranked higher in the world. They've been to 3 Rugby World Cup finals. The Springbok women had their best last year when they made it to a quarter-final. Ahead of this game, the USA women were probably considered the favorites. But in an explosive performance, punctuated with bits of Swiss-to-brain mastery, a 2-person line-out, setting up a maul straight off a scrum, the Eagles have had no answer for the potency of the Springboks. Malinga collects the kickoff. She fires it back towards her backline. And it's a strong carry that finds its way to the big number 12, Ngwevu, who charges into the USA Eagles half. And now Libby Janse van Rensburg is with the ball. She makes a good offload to Jacobs. Bahandre Dolph steps in to the scrum half position as the ball finds its way into the back line. There's a little bit of a fumble, but it goes backwards. Dolph playing at 15 again. Some concerning signs for the Springbok women. In Malinga being down, seeking some treatment. But referee Nordia is playing advantage for a high tackle, and the ball hasn't gone anywhere from that advantage. So we come back for the high tackle. It's right in front of the posts, about 5 meters in the USA Eagles half. There are a couple injuries on the field. Malinga is limping her way back onto the field, so it looks like she will be good to carry on. But her inside centre partner, Apiwe Ngwevu, is now receiving attention. Meanwhile, on the USA side of things, Hope Rogers, the loose-head prop, is down pretty much where that Springbok penalty will be. And then another one of the forwards down on the touchline. So concern all round, but nobody seems to be going off yet. No substitutions have been called. And it looks like all those Springbok injuries I spoke about, the two explosive centres, Apiwe Ngwevu and Ayanda Malinga, are back on their feet.
People, so we'll just keep it.
If you haven't watched Apiwe Ngwevu and Ayanda Malinga on a rugby field, you are certainly missing out. There's just something about, firstly, Apiwe Ngwevu. She scored 15 tries in international rugby. She is extremely powerful. She's strong, she's big for a centre, and she's fast. So that's a pretty lethal combination and causes all sorts of problems for defence. To try and bring her down, you have to commit 2 or 3 players. And then Ayanda Malinga is tall.
Yeah.
She's got power in her legs. And she scored 16 tries in international rugby.
Okay, we'll play, she's behind.
Another one of those Bulls players. Most of the Springbok women ply their trade just down the road at Loftus. There's still some running repairs happening on the field, but so far it seems that no one is going to have to go off. And a reminder that here at Ellis Park, it is the Springbok Women 17, the USA Eagles women 0. 21.5 minutes gone. Time is off just while these injuries take place. The Springbok women, though, do have a penalty about 5 meters inside the Eagles half, in line with the posts. And they are going to kick for touch. I don't think there was any doubt there.
I just don't want to restart. Yeah.
We're just waiting for referee Nordia to restart the clock.
Time out, let's go.
And there we go. Time is on. And the kick in the thin high-felt air ends up about just between, well, actually not between, just a couple meters further than the Eagles' 10-meter line into their half. It's on the grandstand side of the field here at Ellis Park. The Eagles are playing right to left. The Springboks now attacking left to right. It's a 2-person line out again, which is just an incredible innovation. The ball finds its way to Solonzi at the front before being spread out to the back line. And there's a tackle up in the middle of the field. Libby Janse van Rensburg gets the ball out, and then it's Ngwevu who makes meters as always. She carries the ball past the 10-meter line. And the Springboks just look too good to stop as Ubisi, the tall 4,
Clear release, White.
has a strong carry now. Libby Janse van Rensburg looks to orchestrate her backline again. Interestingly, Mika Gunter, the number 2, finds the ball before the backline looks to spread it again. It's Gata Jacobs with a carry. This time, the USA Eagles defense is holding, but
Plays rolling.
as referee Nordia says, there was a tackle. An Eagles player went for a steal, but there needed to be a clear roll first. There's been a quick tap, and the ball's found its way to Babawalache, the captain, and she's carried it pretty much to the 22 of the Eagles. Bandre Dolph now with the ball. She throws a dummy, but it's read well, and she gets brought down. It's a bit slower for Libby Janse van Rensburg, who has to play in the 9 position.
Number 5 offside.
The Springboks, though, playing under penalty advantage. They're putting all sorts of pressure on the USA Eagles, who are finding it difficult to defend this onslaught legally, as Solenzi has a big carry to the 22-meter line, and the Springboks once again are relentless spreading the ball between their forwards and their backs. You actually don't know at any moment who's going to get it because they're all playing in different positions. As Ngwevu catches a loose ball and charges into the 22. She's brought down on the 6-meter line, and now the Springbok women looking set with another opportunity. They have an overlap on the far side as right wing Saliers, though, is read and brought down. They've been pushed back a little bit, but they are still playing under penalty advantage. The defense is looking better from the Eagles. They're not letting the Springbok women through this time quite as easily, as Dolph plays in the 9 position again. She gets it to Janse van Rensburg, who's brought down quite quickly by the Eagles. They're now opting for the pick and goes. It's Ubisi first.
Offside.
Referee Nordia has seen enough. She brings the players back for that offside penalty. It's about, I was going to say it's about 5 meters inside the 22, but I actually remember it being further back, and referee Nordia has been corrected by assistant referees. She's brought it back to the 22-meter line, and the Springboks, in true South African style, have opted for a scrum.
I was happy with that steal. Let's off the back. No. I'm happy with clear dominance for me. Let's go. No, I was happy with dominance.
So the question just coming there, 2 questions really about the steal. So the reason she came back for this penalty was because there was a good USA Eagles steal. And then the question came from the Eagles about the last scrum and whether the Springboks earned that scrum penalty legally. Of course, nothing came of the scrum penalty because a new penalty emerged later on, so we didn't go back for it. But I remind you that they did earn one. And this time, it's a scrum penalty straight away as there's a collapse on the loose head side of the USA Eagles. But they take it quickly, South Africa, and it's Alonsi with the ball. She finds her way into the 22 as the USA Eagles scramble to defend. Ubisi has the ball now, and she's halfway between the 22 and the try line as Lacha, the captain, now carries, but she's brought down easily. Libby Janse van Rensburg looks to make use of her backline. It's Ngwevu who gets brought down now as the Springbok women look to spread it left. Malinga finds Dolph, but Dolph is under pressure and gets tackled on the 5-meter line just inside of touch. That's the 5-meter touch line, not the 5-meter try line. And once again, the Springbok women are looking for options, but the USA Eagles defense seems to be holding a lot better than it has been. Libby Janse van Rensburg carries. She goes into contact strong. She's upright though, so she's held up. She has to work quite hard to get to ground. And Tose.
Okay.
Oh.
Coming on, let's go. That's cynical play.
I was about to say that Tose knocked the ball on, but it seems
playing the 9, cynical.
It actually was not a knock on because she was played illegally.
Playing the 9.
And you obviously aren't allowed to play the 9, which her opposing 9, Caspar Gel, has fallen foul of. She's hit the hand of the player in the ruck, which you cannot do. There's protection on the 9s. It's one of the new laws that's come in fairly recently.
Number 3.
If you're part of the ruck, you can't play the 9. If you think the ball is out, play the ball, don't play the 9.
And she's collapsing immediately. We've had a couple free kicks as well. Sure, that's fine. Happy. Yep.
Another note there from referee Nordia, just explaining that the loose head prop, who we did see down on the field a little bit earlier on, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but Hope Rogers, the loose head prop of the USA, has been penalized twice now. The first one was advantage only. We didn't go back for the penalty, but now at the most recent scrum, we didn't even get the ball in. It was collapsed straight away on the loose head side. She was overextending, which basically means you want the player to be in a 90-degree position, legs underneath hips, basically at 90 degrees or as close to it as you can be. But sometimes when you're under all sorts of pressure,
let's go, please.
You end up being more a straight line, and then you have absolutely no stability. And as soon as there's the set, the hit, and the pressure comes through, you just collapse like a pancake. And that's what happened at the last scrum. And that's what Hope Rogers was penalized for. So just to reiterate, Cassidy Bargel off with a yellow card. So we'll see her back in 10 minutes time. The USA Eagles playing without their scrum half. So it will be interesting to see what they opt to do there. It's a Springbok scrum. It's 17-0 to the Springboks, just shy of the half-hour mark. The scrum is inside the 22 near the far side 15-meter line. And the Springboks play off the back. No advantage coming this time as the USA Eagles hold their own in the scrum. It's Malinga who eventually gets brought to ground, but they're looking to play quickly again. Ubisi with a strong carry. She's been having lots of them today. And the USA Eagles opting not to commit anyone to the rucks as the ball gets spread towards the right-hand touchline. And there simply aren't enough defenders as Wellman goes over in the corner. And the Springboks score their 4th try of the match. They are running riot in Ellis Park. It all started from the scrum. They opted to pick and go. They spread it wide a little bit. The USA Eagles weren't committing defenders, but then they simply didn't have enough players on this near side. And so the Springboks spread it towards their right-hand side. And just a couple of passes found its way to Logan Wellman, who was on the far side touchline. And she just sauntered over in the corner. It means it is a harder kick now for Yaki Saliers. From right on the touchline. It's a strong kick. As I've been saying, she has no problem with the distance, but it just drifts towards the right-hand side of the right-hand upright. But more importantly, what it does mean, just shy of the half-hour mark, the Springboks lead 22-0. Now, if she needed the options, Wellman had Aris, the left wing, on her outside, which again is interesting because she's a left wing, but she was on the right-hand side. I will admit something, and I think it's the impact of Swayze de Bruin just doing things a little bit differently. The players are moving around the field and they're in all sorts of positions and they're taking up different positions. And to use a football reference, it's a bit like total football. They just find their way into different spots and they can play in different positions. The ball was kicked off. It was fouled by the Springboks. I thought they'd knocked it on, but actually it's a penalty because the USA Eagles were offside as they tried to contest the very first ruck after the restart, which means we aren't going to see any action inside the Springboks half again. Well, Libby Janse van Rensburg actually finds it onto the 10-meter line. So we are going to see some action inside the Springboks half, but certainly not inside the 22. But once again, it's the Springbok women with possession. It looks like they're not going to have a two-person line-out this time. The first two-person line-out, they sent it over the back past the 15. And the backline were charging up to gather the ball, which they're perfectly entitled to do. This time, it's a four-person line-out. And it's well contested between the two teams. They both have hands on it. It's going to be interesting to see as it goes to ground and a ruck forms who gets it. It's the Springboks. Finds Libby Janse van Rensburg. And then it's knocked on by Ngwevu. But it's another penalty for offside. So Zoe Nordia is going to have a chat.
Number 6 offside. They need to be better, otherwise I'm going to have to escalate. Yes, please take a minute. Speak to him.
She's having a chat with Georgie Paris-Redding, the captain of the USA Eagles, who now turns to her team and says, listen, we have to be better on the discipline. That's 2 quick penalties for offside. And the warning has been given by Zoe Nordia. Reminder that the USA Eagles already a yellow card down. So it's 15 plays 14. And if it's 15 plays 13, with how dominant the Springbok women have been already, 22-0, 31 minutes gone, all sorts of chaos could emerge. This is a better kick from Libby Janse van Rensburg. She's kicked from the intersection of the 10-meter and 15-meter line inside her half, and she finds her way into the Eagles' half, about 5 meters beyond the halfway line. Once again, it is a 4-person line out. Gunter feeds it to the back, and it gets out quickly to Tose, who has a couple quick balls before Babawalache, the captain, carries herself to the 10-meter line. Now Libby Janse van Rensburg looking to make use of her backline. It finds its way to Dolph before getting all the way to Malinga, who carries well to the 22-meter line before being brought down. And once again, Springbok women play quickly with rapid passes. The ball goes loose off Ngwevu. And it's been knocked on as the Springbok women attempt to pick it up. Just a little knock coming off the hands of Babawalache as she tried to gather the ball. But it was ultimately Ngwevu who didn't quite get her hands to it and let it spill out backwards. Nelache wasn't quite ready for it, so it's just been knocked on.
I'll move out the way for you.
So the USA Eagles have their first scrum for a while. It's about 5 meters outside of their 22, in line with the furthest post from the grandstand.
Guys, get up. Please,
The scrums have been a little bit of a mess when the USA Eagles have been feeding. Let's listen in.
I understand, but you don't need to also fight either. Please bind properly. Long bind, long bind. Let's go.
And it seems the front rows are doing what front rows love to do, cause a little bit of chaos. It's not me, ref. It's not me, ref. A bit from both sides, but
Bind.
we'll go now. It is Ashley Cowdrey, the number 11, the left wing, who's playing at 9, while Bargel is off the field for serving her yellow card sentence.
Up the tunnel. Yes.
This is just a reset. The balls come straight out the tunnel.
Okay. I need a clear hook, please. Do clear hook.
And as long as that hasn't been caused
Reset, please,
intentionally,
let's go.
it will always be a reset.
Okay. I know that you're subbing on for the 9 for this. Let's just feed it straight. Yeah.
.34 minutes gone in the match. The Springbok women lead 22-0. 4 tries, 1 conversion.
Bind. Set.
Cowdrey feeds, and it's a more stable scrum for the USA Eagles, but it's collapsed on the far side. No, it hasn't. It's been kicked out the scrum.
Stop. Okay, let's go back.
The ball has been kicked out the scrum. I honestly don't think I've ever seen that in international rugby. It is correctly given as a penalty to South Africa by referee Zoe Nordier, and it's something we know from our law exams, but I have literally never seen that in school rugby, club rugby that I've refereed, international, professional matches I've watched. It's the first time I've seen that, so that's a unique penalty, but just shows how much pressure the USA Eagles are under at scrum time at the moment. It was their scrum, and it's turned into a South African line-out, 10 meters out from the try line on the far side from the grandstand's perspective where I'm sitting. And this time it looks like it's going to be a 5-person line-out. And the ball goes to the middle. It's Danielle Lochner who picks it up, but it's been adjudged skew. There was a clear contest from the USA Eagles, but moreover, it was outside Lochner's outside shoulder, so it will always be blown.
Say Mark.
And I don't think it surprises anyone that given the option, the USA Eagles will rather have a line out than a scrum.
Do you just adjust with the SA team? Okay, yep, thank you.
So we get to see the Eagles in possession for the first time in a long time. The ball goes to the front. They immediately set up a maul, and it finds its way outside the 22. So it's a good maul. It's a strong maul for the Eagles. It has collapsed, but referee Nordier says that both players are down as they look to try and carry the ball up the middle, but they get brought down on the 22-meter line, and it's been knocked on. The Springbok women will have a scrum on the Eagles 22, 15 meters in from touch on the far side.
Hey, that's in the scrum down. Okay, thank you.
Referee Nordier has put time off. I was just waiting to see why. Oh, it is because there is an injury at the moment.
Let's just get a clear bind here. Okay.
And I think this is an opportunity that the Springbok women will be relishing, the chance to have a scrum again. Reminder, the last scrum that we just had was the
Thank you so much.
USA Eagles scrum. They kicked the ball out of that scrum, which, as I said, I've never seen before. If you're only just joining us, this is the audio commentary for the Springbok women against the USA Eagles live from Ellis Park in Johannesburg, South Africa. I think it will surprise a lot of people to hear that the score is 22-0 in favor of the Springboks. We have 4 minutes to play in the half.
Crouch!
They've scored 4 great tries. They've been attacking all over the pitch. They've been explosive. They've been running down the tram lines. They've been innovative. Influence of Sways de Brain showing. The scrum is more stable, and it's played out by Wellman, the number 8. There's a chip over the top from Libby Janssen van Rensburg, and Ngueva looks for it, but it bounces backwards and then is knocked forwards by the USA Eagles before South Africa knock it on themselves.
Thank you. Thank you.
You hear referee Nordia saying thank you. She's saying thank you to the table running operations from the side of the field, because Cassidy Bargel, who was serving a yellow card for a
Let's go, please.
cynical act of playing the 9 at the ruck, has returned to the field, which means that number 11, Ashley Cowdrey, will return to her left wing spot. And just for a change, we'll have a scrum. This time it is on the 5-meter line. And if we see the South African front row go forward like they did a couple scrums ago, I wouldn't rule out the penalty try option here.
Set.
Unamtose feeds for the Springboks. It's a massive shove as predicted, but it stops for a moment before going forward again. The Springboks are playing with advantage. Libby Janssen van Rensburg ends up with the ball, and she'll go over herself. No, she won't. She's just short, inches short. The ball gets played backwards, and now the Springbok women are looking to carry and step, and it's a try. I'm just going to have to see who comes up with the ball, because it was a little bit of chaos there. I honestly thought Libby Janssen van Rensburg had got over, but actually she was brought down a few centimeters before the line, and then it was picked up by the number 8, Logan Wellman, and she pushed her way over the line for her second try of the match. Now, before today, Logan Wellman had scored 3 tries. So it's a pretty good day out for her. Previously, she scored a try from the right-hand touchline. She was sort of playing in the wing position. Sways de Brain, I said earlier, it's like total football. Players are just playing in each other's positions all over the pitch. You don't know who's going to be where when. It's another strong strike from Yaki Salias, and this time it finds its way between the uprights. She adds the 2 with mere seconds to go until half-time. And the Springboks lead 29-0. We haven't really had an opportunity to even see the USA Eagles attack. Every time they get the ball, they've been smothered, and they haven't really had an open field opportunity. They've been penalized for offside. They've been penalized for not rolling away. And this time at their kickoff, it finds its way to the 10-meter line. And I was about to say, well, maybe they have a chance here as the right wing Matai Toga gets to the ball, but she ends up knocking it on in the air. And so what will probably be the final act of the half. There we go, the siren sounds in Ellis Park, which, by the way, is starting to fill up quite a bit. The Springbok men taking on England at 20-6 South African Standard Time in what will be their Nations Championship opener. Already been a couple matches today, and it extends into the night. But the Springbok women have a scrum on their, just behind their 10-meter line, on the 15-meter line, close to the far touch line. And it's a more solid scrum. It's not going anywhere, so the women opt to play. It finds its way to Libby Janssen van Rensburg before left wing Aris playing out of position, gets it down to right wing Yaki Salias. And now the Springbok women inside the half of the USA Eagles. They've gone beyond the 10-meter line as Tose plays and looks to find her back line. She's playing quickly. Libby Janssen van Rensburg finds Nguevu, the big number 12, who takes 3 defenders to be brought down beyond the 10-meter line. It's a slower ball, but it's a chip over the top, and Libby Janssen van Rensburg and Malinga are in chase. Malinga comes up with it. She's brought to ground on the 5-meter line. And once again, is this inevitable for the Springbok women? Dolph with the ball now. She finds Jacobs, the number 7, who's brought down just in front of the posts, but it's knocked on. It's knocked on just in front of the posts. And with that, the music sounds in Ellis Park, which means It is half-time here. And what an incredible first half performance from the Springboks. They lead 29-0. I'm not sure anyone would have predicted that. But we've seen players playing in all sorts of positions. You don't know what you're going to get. We've seen some innovative plays, a two-person line-out that saw the ball go over the back and the backline rush up to get it quickly and put the USA defense under all sorts of pressure. We saw a maul formed off a scrum. The 8, Logan Wellman, just simply picked up the ball. Her flanks broke away and just formed around her, and they went from scrum to maul instantly. We talk about the line-out to maul transition. I've never seen a scrum to maul transition, but we've seen that today. And that 8, Wellman, having a fantastic match. She's already scored 2 tries. And we've seen the wings playing on both sides of the field. They're interchanging quite a bit, and the 2 centres, every time they get their hands on the ball. Malinga and Gwevu, strong carries, strong carries. On the USA side, they really haven't had an opportunity to attack at all. Annabelle Vogel, the 10, was looking a little bit dangerous earlier on in the match, but she hasn't had a chance to do much since then. Matai Toga has had a couple carries before her teammates have lost the ball on right wing. And then Hope Rogers, Catherine Treda, and Reese Woods, the front row, under all sorts of pressure. South Africa captain Babal Walacha is going to be very chuffed with her team's performance so far. She's taken over as the new captain of the Springbok Women after South Africa's most capped rugby player of all time, Cindy Boy, announced her retirement. She added an 8th try to her name today, Babal Walacha, the first professional South African rugby player when she got her contract with the Harlequins a few years ago. Now plies a trade in Western Province. She is the most capped tight head prop of the Springbok Women. We're going to take a break here on your Box Squad audio commentary. The second half is coming up very shortly, and then later today, the Springbok men take on England. From Ellis Park, it's 29-0. Well, welcome back to Ellis Park. This is your live audio commentary coming to you from Johannesburg. I'm Alex White here to bring you the second half of this great encounter between the Springbok Women and the USA Eagles on the date of their 250th 4th of July celebration. It's Independence Day in the United States. And the USA Eagles are hoping to soar today, but it hasn't gone that way so far. I must admit, it's been a bit of a one-way match, and not in the way we were all thinking it could possibly go. The USA Eagles have been in 3 World Cup finals. The Springbok Women made the quarterfinals last year, and that was their best finish. But it's 29-0 in favor of the Springboks. They've only conceded 1 penalty, South Africa, which is truly remarkable. The Eagles have conceded 8. They've made 4 handling errors. And the ball speed, the ball spread to the wings is just something I want to talk about, because it's something that I mentioned earlier on. The Springbok women have got the ball to the wings 10 times in this match. So the old saying of hands is true. We're underway again here at Ellis Park. The Springbok women are playing right to left from the grandstand, which is my position. It's where I'm sitting. And for the first time in quite a long time, the Eagles have ball possession. Springboks were all over them in the first half. They sort of snuffed out any sense of possession, but it looks like that Cassidy Bargel, the 9, is going to box kick, and it's charged down. And South Africa have the ball. They're on the attack now. It finds its way to Yakos, and they're charging down the middle. It's Ngwevu, the big number 12, who's on the 5-meter line, just inside from the near side touch line, and now they're picking and going and carrying, and they're inside between the 5-meter and the try line. And the ball finds its way to Lochner, who has a strong carry, but she gets blown backwards eventually as 5 defenders get in to bring her down. But the Springbok forwards are licking their lips in delight. The try line is less than a meter away now.
Downside.
And the ball finds its way to number 8, Logan Wellman, who's already scored twice. She's brought down. Libby Janssen van Rensburg carries, and she's just short. And it's a strong carry that goes over. The Springboks score in the first 2 minutes of the match. And as this crowd starts to fill up, they've definitely heard that the Springbok women are onto something here. They've definitely heard. They're coming in. They're not going to wait outside for the England match. They're already in the stadium. It's the number 4, Obisi, who ultimately made the carry that went over in the near side corner. But it was the break from Ngwevu, that big number 12. And when I say she's big, I mean it. She is just built with power, and she's fast, and she just breaks through. And she made that carry, and ultimately a couple pick and goes. When the Springbok women's team, when they're that close to the line, you're not stopping them. Yaki Salias set up just inside the touch line on the 22 for a kick at goal. She's struck it strong every single time today, but she's only managed to get 2 over. This one goes wide again off the left hand upright. We're inside the 43rd minute of the match, and it's 34-0 to the Springboks. It was a pick and go try from Vaina Obisi. She's only scored 4 tries before today's match. Plies her trade at the Bulls, as most of these Springbok women do. The USA Eagles get us underway again. And it's a little carry from Jacobs before it finds the boot of Janssen van Rensburg. I don't think she meant to kick that. It was past her, and it was such a poor pass that she just tapped it forward, which means ultimately that the ball is now in the hands of the USA Eagles. It's picked up by Hope Rogers, the loose head prop. She's brought down 5 meters in front of the Springbok women's 22. The Springbok women are appealing for a steal. They have a steal. First in, says referee Nordia. She puts her finger up in the air to indicate that the steal is good. And now the Springbok women have the ball. The captain, Lache, carries strongly. She gets brought down to ground. just outside their own 22, and now advantage for the Springboks. The Eagles were too slow to roll away, and they slowed down that ball. And it's a nice series of passes and offloads that sees the ball find its way to Alicia Aries, the left wing. She gets brought down just shy of the 10-meter line as they bring the ball back towards the middle of the field now. But as you heard, it was a forward pass, so we'll go back for the penalty. It's pretty much in line with the posts between the 10-meter and 22-meter line of the Springboks half. 44 minutes gone, 34-0 to the Springboks. Libby Janse van Rensburg will look to find touch, and it's a bit of an, I'll admit, awful kick. There is no other way to say it. It is an awful kick. It comes off the side of her boots and barely goes forward 10 meters. She's had some great touch finders in the high felt air earlier on today, but that one is a bit of a fluke. So the Springboks have been practicing innovation in their lineouts. This one is going to be a 4-person lineout. Number 2, Mika Gunter, throwing in. And it's just past the 10-meter line inside the Springboks' own half. It's gathered well, and there's a little trick pass inside. It's been thrown away, and the USA Eagles are now on it. But they've knocked it on the ground. And it's our first set of subs for the match, so time is off while we take the subs. It will be a Springbok scrum on the 5-meter line, just inside the Springboks half when we come back. But it looks like a couple subs are happening. I'll let you know as soon as I'm across them what's going on. But it looks like the number 9, Cassidy Bargel for the United States, has gone off. She's been replaced by Olivia Oritz. And then number 20 is also coming onto the field, Tessa Han. And we're just waiting for confirmation as to who she is exactly replacing. In the meantime, while we wait for that, it is a Springbok scrum on the 5-meter line on the near side touch line to the grandstand, which is where I'm sitting. The Springboks have been dominant in the scrum. They are just inside their own half on that 5-meter line. The scrum has collapsed straight away, but I don't think anyone is clearly at fault. Okay, it's going to be a reset then. Not much coming from that.
Crouch! Bind!
And Torso feeds into the scrum. It's a massive, powerful push from the Springbok women, who earn the penalty advantage and now have a free play as the ball finds its way to Libby Janse van Rensburg. And as she tries to find her inside centre in Ngwevu just loses it forward. But that looked dangerous.
I'm not going to accept you speaking like that to me. Please go. Thank you.
Well, that tells her one of the props of the USA Eagles getting in the face of referee Nordia. I think it's Hope Rogers, who's been penalised a few times already in this match for collapsing the scrum. Quite lucky she didn't get marched back 10 metres there. Libby Janse van Rensburg will look to find touch from just inside their own half on the 5-meter line. And it's a better kick this time. It finds its way to just about the 10-meter line of the USA Eagles. Hope Rogers has just had a quick word with referee Nordia apologising. And everything's back on track. It's a 4-person line out for the Springbok women. Mika Gunter, the number 2, throwing in. It finds its way to the middle and quickly to Torse, who finds Libby Janse van Rensburg, who finds Ngwevu, her inside centre, with a strong carry. She's just outside the 10-meter line now as the Springboks bring it back towards the touch line, but they've knocked it on. It was the carry by Danielle Lochner, the tall number 5 lock, recognised by her white scrum cap and long ponytail.
Okay.
As she went to ground and her support players came to pick up that ball, it was just lost forward.
Okay. Your head higher than your hips. Yeah, feet under your body. And then a stay square? Yes. Yes, you need to stay square. Yeah, chill out. Thank you. Let's go. Tama?
A little bit of scrum coaching going on there from referee Zoe Nordia to Hope Rogers. But as any prop, especially loose-head prop, will tell you, you've got to have that dialogue with the referee during the match to make sure if something's going wrong and you're continuously being penalized, how do you show a better picture to the referee? Show them that you're trying everything you can and not infringing the laws.
Okay, we're just going to clean this.
So time is off, and the reason is that the Bok captain, Babawa Lache, has brought some blood to the attention of referee Zoe Nordia, who has called time off and said that it's fine for water to come on and for that blood to quickly be dressed. Of course, if it is a more serious blood injury in rugby, you can go off the field and then come back. You have a little over 10 minutes for the blood to be dealt with. If the blood can't be dealt with in that time, the substitution becomes permanent. But if not, it's a temporary substitution, and you can utilize players for a blood substitution, even if they've already been tactically brought off.
Yeah, okay.
It's one of the quirks of rugby union. If you're new to the sport, the women's game is growing massively.
It's very tiny. When it's done,
and so I'm hoping I'll helping you understand a bit of the laws, a bit of how things work. And the blood sub is one of them. Not that it's been called into play yet. Babawa Lache has had her running repairs on the field. And we are ready to go. I beg your pardon, it's not Babawa Lache, it's Sanelisiwe Charlie. It was the loose head. Right, it's a USA scrum. These haven't gone well for them so far. They haven't been able to stop the dominant Springbok surge. But let's see what happens as the feed comes from Oretz. It's a messy scrum, but they managed to get the ball out as Vogel looks to play with their back line. And the strong carry from Howard sees them almost inside the Springboks half. The replacement, number 21, Humphreys, gains some ground. And now the USA Eagles are soaring into the Springbok half. They're just beyond the 10-meter line, close to the far touchline. As they get brought down, it's the left wing, Cowdrey, who carried there. And now they opt to use some of the forwards and make some more meters.
Advantage, not rolling.
It's only the second penalty against the Springboks in the match, and it's been tapped quickly. The USA Eagles on the attack. They're inside the Bok 22 now as Hope Rogers cleans strongly, and the forwards look to pick and go and give the Springboks some of their own medicine. They're now just about 7 meters away from the try line as they look to spread it towards this near side touchline, and it's a wide ball from Hun, who was looking for Matai Toga. But it was a little bit wild and it's gone into touch. And so the Springboks will have a line out 10 meters away from their own line. It's the first bit of pressure they've been put under in the match.
Please give the numbers. 2.
And the innovation continues. The Springboks are having a 2-person line out. Now, in law, you can have anything from 2 to 14 in your line out. Obviously, the hooker and the hooker's immediate opponent from both teams needs to stand out. You do not need to have a receiver. Each team can choose to have a receiver. The Springboks do have a receiver, so it's a 2+1. They've got a receiver and only 2 players in the line out. And the back line runs up as the ball is thrown, which they're perfectly entitled to do. The ball goes over the 15 and it's gathered. And now Beandre Dolph is charging down the left-hand touch line. She's brought to ground between the 10-meter and 22-meter line of the Springboks. So looking to get outside of their half now. It's a carry from Babawa Lache, the captain. And as the ball is picked up by Tose, she's tackled hard and knocks it on. So now the USA Eagles were playing under knock-on or scrum advantage. But that knock-on scrum advantage has come to an end. So we have a scrum on the 15-meter line from the near side touch line between the Springboks 22 and 10-meter lines. It's 51 minutes gone in the match. The Springboks lead 34-0.
So knock on first from White. First from White. Okay.
And there's a correction that's come from one of the assistant referees of Zoe Nordia.
So knock on from White first. TMO's coming.
It was Quinton Immelman, the TMO, who's actually sitting just about 4 meters behind me, who's come in and said, no, you've awarded the scrum the wrong way around. And that's one of the things within the TMO protocol, the television match official. They're allowed to do that if there's a bobbling ball and the referee on the field awards the scrum to the wrong team. So whichever team knocked it on first, the TMO can jump in and say, it was actually the other way around. So the Springboks have a scrum.
Set!
Tose feeds and it goes down immediately. Referee Nordia says, we'll have a look at that again. It's a reset.
Looking swing down, also in the middle. Reset.
So the explanation there, both teams have gone down. No one's clearly collapsed, so there's no poor body position for referee Nordia to make a decision from. Both teams have just simply gone straight down. No one's gone forward, so absolutely no one can be penalized there.
Crouch!
So a reset gets called.
Bind!
It's between the 10 and 22 of the Springboks half on their 15-meter line from touch. Tose feeds. It stays still as a rock. No movement from that scrum as Libby Janse van Rensburg passes a nice inside ball to Ngwebu. Gets brought down to ground. The ball's now with Dolph, who looks for Yaki Saliers. And they find their way to the 10-meter line before being brought down. And now it's a strong carry from the tall outside centre, Malinga. But she sort of gets brought sideways by the white wall of the USA defense. And now Tose struggles to get a quick ball. She finds her captain, Lache, who has a massive carry over the gain line and finds her way about 20 meters forward. She's been brought down just short of the halfway line. That's a fantastic carry from her as the ball finds its way to the number 8, Wellman, who gets taken into touch inside the USA half. The Springboks doing well to get out of trouble. And now time's off as a couple substitutions are called for the Springboks. They're bringing on the bomb squad. It's a change, a complete change to the front row.
Yes. Yes. Good.
So we've got
She's
Groenewold,
being subbed.
Ngolo and Mwazwi coming on, 16, 17 and 18. And then there are a couple injuries in the middle of the field. Right, so just to let you know then who's going off. It's Sanele Siwe Charlie, the number 1, Mika Gunter, the number 2, and Babawa Lacha, the captain of the Springboks, who have gone off. And then coming onto the field, it's Groenewold, Ngolo, and Mwazwi. So it will be, of course, interesting to see what happens at the next scrum for the Springboks with a completely changed front row. But in the meantime, it is a line-out for the USA Eagles just inside their own half on this near side touchline closest to the grandstand. It finds its way to the back line and they carry across field. They're in the middle now. The Springboks look to counter ruck, but luckily it's brought out quickly. And then the ball finds a boot downfield, but it's gone directly into touch off the boot of number 15, Alif Kelter. So the Springboks will rejoice in a line-out on the Eagles' 10-meter line on this near side touchline. 54 minutes gone, it's 34-0 to the Springboks. This line-out looks like it's going to be a 4-person line-out for the Springboks. And it's a quick switch. The receiver went in and Tose, who was actually standing on the line-out, went out and they managed to gather the ball, but then it was fumbled backwards. Now there's a strong carry from Jacobs. The Springboks have gone backwards though. They now look for the backline. Libby Janse van Rensburg gets a very flat pass, which he knocks on. Tose just sent a bullet in front of her, but by the time she got there, the ball was almost behind her, so she just fumbled it. It's gone forward, and the USA Eagles have a scrum, but not before Tawufu, the number 5 of the USA Eagles, will go off to allow for Bailey to come on, the number 19 for the Eagles. So there's been quite a lot of change in that scrum for both sides. The Springboks have changed their front row. The locks changed around a bit for the Eagles. And that might be partially why we saw in the most recent scrum it went nowhere after a period of complete Springbok dominance. But maybe with a fresh front row, that dominance will be back.
Set!
Oritz feeds for the USA Eagles. The scrum doesn't go anywhere before it's picked up from the back by Tafuanu. And now The ball finds its way to Mataya Toga, but it's an upright and high tackle on her. So the Eagles now playing under penalty advantage. It's only the third penalty the Springboks have given away this match, as the ball is brought around nicely by Georgie Paris-Redding towards the middle of the field. And then the Springboks managed to get in at that ruck, and it would have been a steal. So we come back for the high tackle on Mataya Toga, the rapid Eagles right wing, playing under the 14 jersey today, and it's a very, very good touch finder that's found its way about halfway into the Springboks 22. Time is off as a couple more subs play out. Interestingly here, the number 20, Tessa Hun, has moved to outside centre, so Uhatafe has now come off. Trida throws into the middle of a large USA line-out, and they set up a maul. It's got some good go forward. The Springboks struggle to stop it, and there's a breakaway from Elizabeth Cook, who gets brought down just inside the field, about 8 meters from the try line, and now the USA opting to pick and go. This is strong pressure on the Springboks. The USA Eagles are yet to score in this match, but this is their best chance they've had to do it, but they've knocked it on. They've knocked it on. And the Springboks rejoice in strong defense on their own line. Jack Hanratty shaking his head in the coaching box. The Scotsman, the coach of the USA Eagles. And a substitution is underway as well. The number 22 for South Africa, Felicia Jacobs, is coming on.
Someone, let's go hear some off. Left, please.
And I'll get confirmation for you in a moment. It is Unam Toose, the fantastic number 9, who's come off. So we've had a change at the controls for the Springbok Women. Felicia Jacobs will now orchestrate things from that scrum half position, as she does now at the scrum. 5 meters from the Springboks' own line, 5 meters from their touch line on this near side. The scrum again goes nowhere, so she looks to pass to Libby Janse van Rensburg. It's an awful pass, it's at her feet, but she manages to hold on and not knock it on. And the Springbok women are playing dangerously now on their own 5 meter line. They're having to flood the rucks as the USA Eagles sense an opportunity to pounce on a flustered Springbok attack.
Not on the ball.
The ball finds its way to the USA Eagles, and it's picked up and scored. The Springboks all over the place on their own line, and it's a first try for the USA Eagles 250 years after they declared their independence on the 4th of July 1776 here in South Africa. Finally, there's some reason to celebrate. It was a very messy period of play. There were a couple picks and goes, but in the end, the number 8, Frida Tafuana, scored that try. It's a bit of a trend today. She's trying to replicate her counterpart Logan Wellman with a kick from the 50 meters in from touch on the halfway line. Not a problem at all. Kelter bombs it over, and the score now 34-7. We're into the 59th minute here at Ellis Park. In just over 2.5 hours, the Springbok men face England in the opening match of their Nations Championship campaign. But here at Ellis Park first, it's a thrilling opening encounter between the Springbok women and the USA Eagles women. Janse van Rensburg gets us underway again. She puts the ball just in front of the Eagles' 10-meter line. They struggle to gather it, but eventually it ends up with Howard. And the Eagles are playing a little bit on the back foot now as the strong, rapid Springbok defense brings their forwards down to ground. And they decide, we've seen enough, let's clear that out. Kelter, the 15, puts it on the boot to a counterpart, Bandre Dolph, who's got such rapid feet. And those rapid feet do well to bring her to the middle of the field, but she's just going sideways and she's brought down behind the Springboks' 10-meter line. As replacement scrum half Jacobs feeds her backline, and the ball finds its way to Libby Janssen van Rensburg on the right-hand side before she's brought down just beyond the 10-meter line, and the Springboks look to play quickly and keep the momentum up. They're beyond the 10-meter line now, but a little bit isolated. The forwards get there in time. Libby Janssen van Rensburg again orchestrating a backline, and that's a great crash ball by Katra Jacobs, the tall number 7. And the Springboks going forward now with impunity. Jacobs, the wily number 9, well, the 22, the replacement 9, looks to play quickly, but it's a turnover. It's a strong steal by the USA Eagles. They're second in the match. They had one earlier on in the first half, which was the first penalty that the Springbok women gave away. And this is only the 4th penalty that the Springbok women have conceded in this entire match. When you consider in international rugby, the average is usually closer to 10. And we have just 20 minutes to go. Brilliant from the Springboks. Now that penalty was sort of in line with the post between the 22 and 10-meter line of the USA's half, and they've kicked it just beyond the 10-meter line on the far side of the field. But there's an injury in midfield, so time is off.
Let's go. Time on.
And there we go. Zoe Nordia says time is back on. It was Katra Jacobs. She was actually just tying her shoelace. The ball goes to the front of the line out and is spread quickly to the back line, but under all sorts of pressure, so the pass goes wild. And there's a chip and chase on now from the USA Eagles. And it's from Coulter, the 15. She regathers her own ball, and she's brought the Eagles into the Springboks half. And some strong carries from the forwards. See the Eagles inch nearer and nearer to the Springboks line. It's another chip and chase from the USA Eagles. But Andre Dolph picks up the ball, and she puts it to boot herself from inside her own 22. And the Eagles let it bounce, so it goes into touch. Number 13, Uhatafe, let it bounce. So a line out will be thrown for the USA Eagles in between the 50 and 10-meter lines inside the Springboks half on this near side touch line. A substitution is happening for the Eagles. Christian Bitter is coming onto the field.
Time on. Just wait. Yes.
In place of number 15, Aliv Coulter. The line out goes to the back for the Eagles. Oritz looks to play with her back line as her number 6, Kay Zachary, has a quick offload. And they're under all sorts of pressure at the ensuing ruck. They have to scramble backwards, which means they've gone all the way back beyond their own 10-meter line. There's a good carry from Matai Toga, and eventually the ball's brought down just short of the Springboks 10-meter line, and it's knocked on. The USA Eagles were looking promising, but then some strong defense from the Springbok women forced the knock, and we will have a Springbok scrum just inside the Springbok half, 5 meters in from this near side touch line. And we're into the 63rd minute. It's 34-7 in favor of the Springbok women. Since the new front row of Groenewald, Ngolo and Mazwi came on, there hasn't been quite the dominance of that Springbok scrum we saw earlier on in the match that won them a couple penalties.
Please maintain the gap.
But now on their own ball, we'll see.
Maintain the gap.
Jacobs, the replacement scrum half for the Springboks.
Bind.
Alongside the replacement scrum half Oritz for the USA Eagles. She feeds. The scrum's more stable. There is some movement from the Springbok women. Eventually they get it going, but the ball's out to Libby Janssen van Rensburg before that can happen. And the Springboks brought down in the middle of the field, but they are looking to play quickly, which Jacobs achieves. And it's a carry from the number 18, the replacement, Mazwi. Jacobs now finds the Lochner, her lock. And the ball goes loose. The USA Eagles are quick to pounce, but the Springbok women manage to hang on to it. They're inside their own half, quite deep now, about 10 meters behind their own 10-meter line. And the ball comes out quickly, but it's fumbled. Referee Nordia says it's gone backwards. But the Springboks themselves are now going backwards as well. They need to regain composure, and they attempt to do so. There's a strong wide ball from Libby Janssen van Rensburg, but then the number 8, Welmer, knocks it on at her feet, and the USA Eagles will have a scrum just outside the Springbok 22, about 8 meters in from this near side touchline. We're into the 65th minute, 34-7 to the Springboks. I certainly think since half-time we've seen a lot more attacking intent from the Eagles, so they barely had possession in the previous half. So it's really great to see them getting some ball and playing with it, and they're also looking to spread it to their wings. I mean, Matai Toga is so dangerous. Cowdrey on the far side.
Set!
Oritz feeds, the scrum stays stable, and she picks it up from the back, looking to make use of her backline now as the Eagles spread it, and there's a strong crash ball that finds its way down the middle. It's Tessa Hand sprinting for the line. She's brought down on the 5, gets the offload, and it's a try for the Eagles. Cowdrey, Ashley Cowdrey, the left wing was there in support of Hun, and the offload came straight down the middle. The Springbok women under pressure now. And there are a couple US supporters in the stands who really appreciated that one on the 4th of July, Independence Day. And the conversion is trivial. It was right in front. So 34-0 becomes 34-14. There's been a shift in momentum. I was just talking about it. The USA Eagles having a lot more attacking prowess in this half. Wow, that was good. Tessa Hun made the break down the middle, and she was brought down just in front of the posts. She offloaded from the ground, found the support of Ashley Cowdrey, who'd done really well to come in from that left wing and be in support, get the ball, go over for the try. Janse van Rensburg gets us underway again. It's deep into the 22, but it's gathered by Oritz, the replacement scrum half for the USA. She makes her way outside the 22. She's now closer to the 10-meter line, looking to make use of some of her forwards to run crash ball as they move the ball closer towards the middle of the field. But it's knocked on. South Africa have possession now, and they're on the attack just in front of the US's 22-meter line. Jacobs finds Jacobs from scrum half to flanker. The Springboks moving the ball around, trying to bring it back towards the middle of the field, but the USA defense has upped it a notch, and they're pushing the Springboks backwards. Janse van Rensburg. The ball finds its way to the left wing. Oris, who's brought down inside the 22. She's looking for support. She finds Abisi, who's already scored in this match and is so strong. Goes forward a couple meters before the ball is with the other wing. Salias. And the Springbok women now attacking inside the 22. Quick passes, looking to clean their rucks as Jacobs keeps them moving. And the ball's been knocked on. It was a quick pass inside. And Libby Janse van Rensburg was not ready for it, so that ball has been knocked on. And the USA women will have a scrum inside their 22.
What's happening?
But that was what the Springbok women needed after conceding that try. There's another substitution happening. You might have been hearing the cheering from the crowd.
I'm not good.
And that's because Vaina Ubisi of the Bulls, in her 23rd cap, has scored 2 tries today. I mean, she scored 4 before today's match, and she scored 2 today. 1 running down the right-hand touchline in the wing position, and then 1 from a pick and go. And now it is a USA scrum in line with their posts, about 10 meters inside their own 22. It's the 69th minute, 34-14 to the Springbok women. They play down the right-hand side towards this near side touchline from my position. Matai Toga, the big 14, takes it into contact. It's almost a high tackle, but referee Nordia plays on. They've made it outside of their 22. Now it's been knocked on and South Africa have the ball. They're looking to immediately counter-attack. Some quick offloads finds its way to Wellman. There's another offload and then it's brought down in the middle of the field. But Libby Janse van Rensburg is there to play scrum half. And it's scramble defense for the USA Eagles. Jacobs, the 9, getting back into position, but she's telling her forwards, have a go. The other Jacobs, the flanker with a pick and go. And they inch closer and closer to the line. But it's the third holding on penalty of the day. There's already been one in this half, and there was one right at the start of the match when the Springboks had a breakdown towards the USA goal line. But we can't dwell on that too much because they've tapped and gone quickly. And it was Uatafe who's made it all the way to the 10-meter line before kicking it downfield. And there is a chase on as the Springboks scrambled back. Aris, the left wing, finds Libby Janse van Rensburg, who charges upfield. She puts it to the boot. She runs into a USA Eagles player, so there's no advantage for a late tackle. And now the ball is with Bitter for the USA Eagles. She kicks it downfield, and it's all sorts of chaos. Yakis Elias, who was there to gather the ball and is in fact the player who kicked it earlier, not Libby Janse van Rensburg, beg your pardon. It was Yakis Elias. She's knocked it on. She's knocked it on. She was looking to gather the kick from Bitter. He came on to play in place of Kelter early on in the match, and it's now going to be a USA Eagles scrum just outside the Springbok 22, about 8 meters in from that inside mark, that inside touch line. The near side touch line, beg your pardon. The one close to me sitting from the grandstand. Aris, the left wing, Alicia Aris, took quite a big hit. So she's down on the 5-meter line in the left wing position, but she's having some running repairs. An assistant referee is also standing there. So I think we might wait and see what happens with her. There was a little conversation you may have heard there a moment ago from referee Zoe Nordia. Of course, Babawa Lacho went off a couple minutes ago when that whole front row replacement came on for the Springboks, when Swayze de Bruin brought on his replacements. And so now it's Libby Janse van Rensburg who is captain. And referee Zoe Nordia was just checking to make sure she knew who she needed to speak to. But the running repairs on Aris aren't done yet. Gianna Folyun being asked by referee Nordia as her assistant referee to just speed up the repairs. All right, they're done. Time's back on. And the USA have a scrum inside the Springbok women's half, 10 meters in from the near side touchline between the 10 and the 22. It's the 72nd minute. It's 34-14 to the USA Eagles. If they have any hope of coming back into this match, they need to score quite a few tries quite quickly, and they are already trying to do that. They spread it rapidly to the left wing, Cowdrey, but then brought down on the far side, and the Springbok defense is up. They haven't managed to get over the gain line yet. It was looking promising as they spread that ball wide, but now the number 7, the captain, Georgie Paris-Redding, has a strong run that gets the USA Eagles inside the 22, and they're looking to make that more permanent as Humphreys charges in. The ball's loose. It spills out. It's gone backwards. Stathopoulos has it now, and the replacement scrum half, Oritz, has a carry of her own. But the ball's been lost, and the Springboks have it now just in front of their own 5-meter line. They're looking to counter. They're going to have to clear shortly, but there's all sorts of pressure from the USA Eagles, who've managed to turn over the ruck again, and they're trying to dive on the loose ball, but the Springbok women get there first. It's chaotic as the ball's sent to Libby Janse van Rensburg, who boots it into touch just inside their 22, but a relief of a whole lot of pressure. The most important thing now for the Springboks women is just to let that clock run down. There's 7 minutes left. They lead by 20. It's 34-14. The longer it takes for the Eagles to score, the more certain it is of a Springbok victory, a famous victory here at Ellis Park. The Eagles have set up a maul from the lineouts. The ball finds its way to Vogel, the number 10, who just makes it inside the 22 as Stathopoulos, a big replacement, carries. And now it's with the captain again, Paris-Redding, who's driven backwards by a couple Springbok defenders. And the ball is knocked on at the base of the ruck. The Springbok defense is simply too much for the Eagles. And all momentum they had has been snuffed out. But at the start of the game, I told you that today is the 250th Independence Day in the United States of America. And while those celebrations will continue a little bit later on as the fireworks of the 4th of July fire out across the continent, here in South Africa, the USA Eagles haven't quite managed to soar. We've seen a better half from them, but the Springbok women have surely done enough as the clock ticks closer to 80. We're into the 75th minute now. It's 34-14 to the Springbok women as they have a scrum inside their own 22. They look to spread it. They're not sure what they're doing, though. There's a little bit of a mix-up, and they're brought to ground inside the 22. And Jacobs finds Dolph, who finds Libby Janssen van Rensburg, who's captain now. The Babawa Lache has gone off, but she's tackled quickly, 10 meters out from her try line. And so the Springbok women are going to have to clear again, but it comes off the side of the boot, and the USA Eagles now have the ball inside the 22. That's a massive error from the Springboks, and it's a strong carry from the forwards. Howard with the ball brought down 5 meters before the line. And the USA Eagles on the attack. They're going to look to pick and go, and it's a big carry from Perez Redding, the captain of the Eagles. And they're only a meter away now. It's the strong carries that are doing all the work. And the Springbok women desperately defending. Ngolo with a strong bit of tackling there. And the ball's close to the line. Referee Nordia says, no, it's on the line. And the Eagles score with minutes left on the clock. It will most likely be too little, too late at 34-19, but the kick is still to come, and it's being taken quite rapidly, just in front of the posts. It's a good strike, it's a strong strike, it's over. So 34-19 becomes 34-21. There are 4 minutes left to play. It's not out of the realm of possibility yet. 2 converted tries, and the Eagles win by 1. It was a good pick and go amongst a smorgasbord of US bodies and a whole lot of chaos that eventually saw this try scored. And it was scored by the number 18, a replacement, Elizabeth Cook. She had to reach out for that line, and there were Springbok defenders all around her, but she managed to get there. Libby Janssen van Rensburg taking her time with the restart, just letting that clock run down. Just over 3 minutes to play. South Africa 34, USA 21. The kick lands between the 22 and 10-meter line, and it's a strong steal for South Africa. Holding on is the call from referee Nordia. That's the first one they've won. The Eagles did it to them 4 times already in this match. And now the Springboks can put the final nail in the coffin and cause what is ultimately and honestly an upset. 3 points would put it beyond 2 converted tries, but they've said, nope, we're kicking for the corner when we've got within 5. We've scored. Libby Janssen van Rensburg, as captain and kicker, says that's what we're doing. And so to touch they go. They're on the far touch line. The line out is exactly on the 5-meter line. It was a fantastic kick. And the Springboks setting up their biggest line out of so far in this match. It looks like there are 6 in it. The ball finds its way to the back, but it's stolen by the USA Eagles on the 15-meter line, and they're desperately looking to clear their lines inside the 22 now. 2 minutes left to play here at Ellis Park. And the Eagles slowing the ball down as Oritz looks for her options. She finds a pack of forwards who are willing to carry for her. And the ball's coming slowly for her now. As a bit more carrying is done by the forwards. They're opting to pick and go. And then it's put to the boot. But Dolph is in position. She carries, she fumbles, she knocks it on. And the USA also fumble, carry, managed to gather the ball. It ends up with Tessa Hahn, but she's taken close to touch. So there was no advantage. And referee Nordia calls the scrum. It's on the 5-meter line. And when I say the 5-meter line, 5 meters in from touch on this near side touch line, just outside the USA 22. And that surely is that. There's a minute 20 left on the clock. South Africa lead 34-21. It's been a much better half for the USA Eagles. South Africa scored in the first minute of the half, but since then, it's been 21-0. So what this does mean is next week, when we're at Loftus in Pretoria, before the Springbok men play Scotland, and we have a rematch of this fixture, it could be a lot more interesting. Oritz feeds into the scrum. Again, it goes nowhere, which has been the trend of this half since the South African front row was replaced. A deep kick is put on the boots, but Andre Dolph just is happy to let it roll into touch in the far touchline on the 10-meter line. And now the Springboks will have a line out. It may well be the final act of the game. It's 24 seconds to play, 34-21, South Africa lead. They are on the verge of a famous victory. The last time these two teams met, the USA won comfortably. 38 points to 14 it was then. The Springbok women have had 3 wins on the trot, but against Madagascar, Uganda, and Kenya. And now, at Ellis Park, the home of South African rugby, they look ready for one final dance as Jacobs breaks up the field, but it's a forward pass, surely, that found its way. Yeah, it's been called a forward pass. I thought they might let it go. It was a forward pass to Eloise Webb, but referee Nordia has called it forward. That is that. It's full time. A bit of attacking intensity from the Springboks at the end. A bit of excitement for the crowd. But ultimately, South Africa have done something that no one thought really they would do. They have beaten the United States of America, the Soaring Eagles women, comfortably at the home of South African rugby by 34 points to 21. Tries from Ubisi, the number 4 lock, Wellman, the 8, who scored from a pick and go and from the touchline. Babawa Lache, in her 41st cap, been announced as the new captain of the Springbok Women, scoring a try as well. It is perhaps the start of a new era of Springbok women's rugby, and in fact it's not the start, because the start has come so much earlier than this. It's been brewing for years. They reached the quarterfinal of last year's World Cup, played New Zealand no less in the quarterfinal, and pushed them until halftime thanks to a unique blend of belief and Swace de Brain innovation. And that's what we've seen today, surely, is Swace de Brain innovation. A couple 2-person line-outs where the ball's gone over the back to the 15 and over the 15, and the back line charging up have managed to put on a lot of pressure, and some of them had went to the front of the 2-person line-out. They formed a more straight off a scrum. Players were all over the park in different positions. When Wellman scored from the wing position, while she was standing on the right wing side, and she had Aris outside her, who's the left wing. So there was all sorts of innovation today. And now the Springbok women wave to the crowd at Ellis Park. That's slowly starting to trickle in ahead of the Springboks against England. And they are being shown some love. It was a fantastic, fantastic match. And to watch the Springbok women play was simply scintillating. The USA women came out in that second half and gave it everything. 21-5 in the second half went the way of the USA Eagles. 21-0 after the Springboks scored in the first minute. So we are truly poised for a fantastic encounter next week at Loftus, when we have a return of this fixture ahead of the Springbok men playing Scotland. It'll be the same kickoff time, 1:30 South African Standard Time. We'll be back with your audio commentary then, here on the Springbok YouTube channel. And I'll be back in a little over 2 hours' time for the Springbok men against England in the opener of the Nations Championship. But just to revel in what these women have done today. From strength to strength, the Springbok women go. And long may it last. Later this year, in the 3rd test of rugby's greatest rivalry at FNB Stadium in Soweto, the Springbok women will play the Black Ferns. And this makes it look like they will have a very, very good chance. That's all from us here at the moment on the Springbok YouTube channel with our commentary of this match. Like I said, in 2 hours' time, the Springbok men kick off against England at Ellis Park, the home of South African rugby here in Johannesburg. I'll be back then. We'll kick off at 5:30 on YouTube. The match is at 5:20 South African Standard Time. If you've joined us from the United States of America, I hope you're having a fantastic Independence Day. Have a good 4th of July and enjoy the fireworks later. And you can be proud that your USA Eagles in the second half of this match truly did soar and gave us fireworks on this hallowed ground. But to the South Africans, you can be proud that your team is going from strength to strength and the future looks bright. That's all from us here from this match at Ellis Park. The Springboks 34, the USA Women 21.